This show is not intended to provide the listener with specific medical advice, and you should seek the advice of a medical professional.
This program is brought to you by Zenus, leading the optimum wellness movement in body and spirit with nature.
My whole purpose is to get people off of their drugs and get them to live a healthy life.
It's such a miracle. I mean, this is dollar for dollar. Best stuff I've ever had in my office.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840 KXNT. My name is Anthony, and joining me once again is Doug Whitfield, educator and author of that great book, Life or Grave Danger. He is also the president and CEO of Zenus Global Health. Remember, the consultation's free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy, and that journey to wellness can be all yours. It just begins with your mindset. Doug, once again, we're on the air. How are you, my friend? Great to be with you.
Thank you, Anthony. Great to be with you as well.
We have literally so much to get to today. This is the first show, of course. If you have questions, comments, give us a call, 702-733-KXNT, 5968, of course, if you want the numbers there. Doug, as we start a wellness show, we have so many places to go, but let's start with this basic premise. You're a gentleman who has 50 years in the natural whole food space. You've also been running your company for clearly, 30 years now? And the biggest question we always get right off the top, what's the difference between health and wellness?
Well, let me correct something. It's actually been 49 years, Anthony. But that's a great question. Health is a very broad word because everybody has health. Some of us have good health. Some of us have not so good health or bad health. Whereas when you use the word wellness, that would depict good health. One of the things that I've discovered or experienced is that most people walk around with what they call a tolerance level. In other words, they're really not well, but they're really not sick. So that tolerance level, anything below that, and you're going to show a symptom. Anything above that means that you're not sick. So the absence of wellness doesn't necessarily mean sickness or vice versa. But the problem is that when we're on that line of tolerance, any little trauma entering into the equation all of a sudden drops us down below where now we're experiencing symptoms.
It also speaks to that issue of balance, right? When we talk about wellness. Yeah. And how do we know what's good for us? How do we make decisions our bodies need in terms of repairing those functions that have been compromised by poisons and toxins?
Well, here again, we get back to our basic philosophy that we've been created in our maker's image, depending on your religious persuasion, of course. But when you look at the human body, it is absolutely so incredibly perfect. You can just simply by viewing things through your eyes, you can see all these colors, a single thought, you can move your hand. It's pretty magical. And yet, we don't tend to put all the value on it that we should.
We spend so much on healthcare, skyrocketing costs in healthcare. It's on every form of media. It's a topic people have been hassling with for, decades. But yet we're more unhealthy than ever before. How do you explain that conundrum to me? Because we spend so much more on something and we're getting so little in return.
Well, you almost got to go back to the advent of modern medicine, where you had homeopaths and you had allopaths. Allopaths being those people that practice conventional medicine. And at that time, years back, most people were going to the homeopaths simply because they were using cultural herbal medicine and that worked. Whereas the allopaths, they were using things back years ago, like if you had a headache, they'd drill into your head to let the demons out. Or if you had a cut or a bruise or something, they would oftentimes cut you more to bleed out the poisons of that out of it. So most cases, people were dying from the result of the therapy when they were going to their allopaths. But it was when the money interests got involved in it, all of a sudden things started changing, and not necessarily always for the worse. There were some good things that the money interests came in, and that was all the different surgical procedures. I mean, we're light years ahead. Diagnostics and that. Those are the areas that we've really moved forward with in conventional medicine. The thing that they haven't done is they haven't moved the needle at all. Matter of fact, they've regressed when it comes to degenerative or chronic conditions.
Doesn't this speak back to that whole issue of health versus wellness, right? Where we're treating the symptoms that may or may not push us over the line of wellness, right? But tucked well beneath that whole layer, we've got an issue with this concept of poisons and toxins that clearly our healthcare system doesn't treat until the symptoms become acute. Talk a little bit about this philosophy at Zenus about poisons and toxins, because I know you won't say it, but you were way ahead of the curve on this, like more than 30 years ago.
Well, here's again, getting back to our philosophy and what I've experienced since working in nutrition since the 1960s. I believe that every degenerative or chronic condition that you can name that's out there is the direct result of poisons. Now, that's not what we were taught in school, thanks to Louis Pasteur. We were taught that it was viruses, germs, bacteria, pathogens, parasites, that they were the cause. Unfortunately, that's just misinformation. That's not factually true. These are all living entities, and like every living entity on Earth, they're simply in search or in quest of a host that will supply them with a food source. And what is their food source? All of these entities live on accumulated waste, poisons, and toxins. So what we're trying to say is that poisons are the cause of the disease because they attract the infectious bacteria, germs, and that. If you void yourself of the poisons, you create what we call host resistance.
Right.
So, in other words, we create an entity that's impervious because we're all exposed to environments where these microbes exist. Some people get sick, some people don't, and it's simply because of their internal environment.
Folks, you're listening to the Zenus Health Show here on News Talk 840 AM KXNT, brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Check out the website at zenusglobalhealth.com/information, or give them a call at 702-540-5668. Again, the consultation is always free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy. Want to get back before the break to the concept of host resistance. I'm somebody who says, okay, yeah, I am spending way too much money on healthcare. I know I'm not totally well. You're talking about poisons and toxins. What's the first step for me if I've never made that step where I'm saying, yeah, I want this journey to wellness. I want to make things better. What do I do first, Doug?
Well, the first thing you have to do is accept the premise that God didn't make mistakes when he created us. And he also gave us everything in nature that will support our body in vitality, joy, health. And that comes in our fruits, our vegetables, and our herbs. Because nature has a way of synergistically blending all the different components and nutrients in a way that put them in total harmony with our body's needs. The father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, made a statement very profound: let food be thine medicine, and medicine be thine food. And, of course, when we go to our doctor, the first thing they want to do is put us on drugs or synthetics, or isolates. Yep. And without exception, every prescription drug comes with a side effect. Comes with a side effect. That side effect is simply our body's innate wisdom telling us that that's not in harmony with our body's needs.
Okay, body's wisdom. I'm going to hear these phrases, and because we're new to this and we're introducing ourselves to a new audience, what does body's wisdom mean? What are you telling me when you say you put these words together? Because, quite frankly, they're going to be foreign to me if I haven't dealt with Doug Widifield's philosophy before.
Well, inevitably, the body knows what's best for us. A doctor can look at you and they can diagnose, but at the end of the day, you're the only one that really knows what you're experiencing, what you're feeling. I'll give you an example. I don't know if you were ever a smoker, but I can guarantee one thing. Anybody that has ever smoked, the first time you ever took a drag off a cigarette, I guarantee you choked and you coughed. Your body rejected it because it knew it wasn't good for you.
I think I turned green.
That's right. But, but again, so often we force our body to continue to do this. And the body says, well, I don't like it, but I'll do it, And then after a while it says, well, it's not that bad. Comes a time when the body says, you know what? Actually, I kind of like it. I not only like it, but I need it. And you've become a victim of a habit-forming drug.
Same thing with drinking, right?
Didn't like that either. It's the body's wisdom telling us that that's not in harmony with its needs.
Since I got to know you, all right, you've had a profound effect on what I eat, when I look at what I eat, and what kind of foods I eat, and what kind of supplements I take.
Well, that means I can go to my grave happy knowing that I've helped.
Oh, yeah, you had a profound effect on me. You should all get to know this man. He's the Johnny Cash, as I call him, of the nutritional movement. There's no doubt about it. But here's the thing: I'm not a big salt guy, right? My body reacted to just that little element, saying this isn't good for you, and quite frankly, it's not very good for you. So what you're basically saying when we talk about an internal wisdom, part of host resistance is empowering the body rather than treating the body with external influences.
That's correct. You see, every time we put food in our mouth, there's a portion that gets to the cell. And because the cells need to have nutrition, because they use the nutrition in order to build enzymes, which is our life force. The cells are very rigid, and they're demanding the exact credentials of every molecule that comes to it. And if it's in not total harmony with its needs, it rejects it. That's why synthetic foods, denatured foods, all these things, they only play a role in bringing down the body as opposed to giving the body what it needs.
Folks, once again, you're listening to the Zenus Health Show, brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Give us a call, 702-733-5968. And when we return after this next break, we have some very, very special guests who are all aligned within the SAVE movement. Again, this is the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840.
Toxins create disease. They are everywhere. In our food, in the air we breathe, in our homes, at our places of work.
Heavy metals accumulate in our systems every day, causing numerous health problems that can seriously impact every major organ in our bodies.
They are stored in our organs, tissues, and bones.
We also know that metal toxicity is often derived from all kinds of environmental threats. But no matter the origin, studies now show that heavy metals in the body may be implicated to Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, behavioral problems, kidney dysfunction, epilepsy, and even paralysis.
Are you toxic? The answer is yes. We are all toxic.
And that's precisely where chelate comes in.
Start detoxing today.
The strongest whole food detoxifying agent for heavy metals. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668 and strike back at toxic heavy metals today.
KXNT.
Hey folks, welcome back. You are listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840 AM KNXT, brought to you by fine people at Zenus Global Health. Don't forget, you can give us a call at 702-733-5968 if you want to join in on the fun, the festivities. We have now added three very, very special people to the show this morning to talk about their wellness journeys, their experiences, and you may just know some of these people as well. First of all, I want to start with our great friend, Sidro Garcia, Las Vegas Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guitarist, lead member of a very successful group called Sidro's Armada. You've probably seen him a number of times, I would think, around these parts. Right, Sidro?
I've been all over for a lot of years, Anthony.
All I'll tell you is you got to watch this guy play, I swear. Give a rip of Santana's Europa. I think you'll be hooked for life. I know I was. How you doing this morning, Sidro?
Anthony, I'm doing fine. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You would think you'd be on a musical show, but you're here on a health and wellness show, and I want to get to this for a second because that's how I got to know you at first. Had heard of you, but then I got to meet you. And talk to me a little bit about how you got hooked on Zenus.
Well, first of all, I met Doug and Christina Whitfield. We started talking about health. And I'm at the age where I was going through a couple of issues, and he says, well, maybe you should try this. And, you're always kind of hesitant, like, yeah, right, But the man had this thing about him, both him and his wife, Christina, that you want to listen and you can tell that they are for real. Mm-hmm. That's why I started trying his procedures and supplements that he's got, mainly because I look into a person's eyes and I say, I can deal with this and I believe in this. So I tried it. I was going through digestion problems at the time. It's been about, I think, 3 or 4 years. I feel like I've known him forever. Yeah, I really do. And he says, well, I got something that you should try. And I says, again, I looked and says, okay. So I did. And the Optimum Detox is what I take that almost every day. And it's been a big change in my world because, I'm on the road. I'm a road rat. I'm on the road a lot. And I don't always eat the best foods or the right foods, but thanks to this detox that I'm taking, I'm like healthier. I got more energy. I'm not the kind of person that reads about ingredients and stuff,
Right.
If a friend says, try this, and again, it goes back to you trust this person,
Right.
And so I don't know much about what's in the ingredients, but it works for me. And I got many friends that are having the same problem at this age with the indigestion, So I've got 2 or 3 of my friends on this, and they're very, very happy about it,
Doug, I want to bring you in on this because a couple interesting things there, one of which is Optimum Detox. And I've always called Optimum Detox the gateway formula to Zenus.
Yeah.
Once you get in on Optimum Detox, the whole world starts to open up because people like Sidro always come back and say, you may not notice a difference right away, but you're going to feel one within a couple of weeks.
Uh-huh.
Is that how it worked for you, Sidro?
Yes. I'd say within about a week or two, I could feel the difference, and not only in my indigestion, but as a being, just my energy was different.
That's a very common thing, right, Doug?
Well, yeah, it is. Optimum Detox is a whole food extraction from the Mojave Desert. Matter of fact, we were blessed back in 91. We were approached by the Federal Ministry of Health in China, and they wanted to do studies on that product and another product that we were making that was addressing a lot of real significant health challenges. And the Optimum Detox, after 5 years and $7 million, was approved in China by the Federal Ministry of Health, given both drug identification numbers and import permits. And over there, they've coined it as the foundation of health because it's a very unique botanic and it has so many constituents that other plants don't have that it restores balance. And at the end of the day, balance is the key because disease is just disease. It's a body out of balance. Restore balance, you eliminate the disease.
You're being a little bit shy here, right? about China. Because what? You're the only Western-based nutritional company, I believe, in the history, okay?
Yeah.
That's gotten drug identification numbers out of that federal ministry. Right? And this is before China opened up to the world, right? You were in there doing
they did studies from 1991 through 1996. They spent $7 million, and they were testing two of our products. One was dealing particularly with cancer, and also they did studies with lupus patients as well. By the way, which all the results were published in both Mandarin and translated into English, and laws here in North America forbid us from even putting that information on the website,
Right.
The golden rule. He who has the gold gets to make the rules.
That's the way it works. Speaking of gold, we got to get back to this guy right here, Sidro.
Thank you.
You've been on detox for a while now.
Since I met him 3 years ago. Yeah.
What's the end result for you?
Well, the end result for me is that I'm regular and I have energy. I can feel the cleansing sometimes.
Yeah.
I really can. I did. You got to remember, I'm old school. And we're programmed when we're kids to take the prescriptions and medicines that they prescribe for us, right? So we're programmed. Then on the other side, we also had natural cures that our grandmothers and grandfathers did for us.
That's right.
So I always remembered that. I met Doug, and he mentioned it had this natural supplements that might help me. I immediately, first of all, like I said earlier, I trusted the man, and I immediately wanted to try him because I come from that world also. And it's worked great for me. It really has,
How has it changed your patterns in terms of sleep, cravings, mood, things like this? Because these are the things that you don't really think about until someone points it out. You're a different type of person all of a sudden. Your choices are different. You're
totally different. Totally different. It's like we have really unique sleeping habits. First of all, being musicians, sometimes we work till 3 in the morning.
Right.
And then we're up at 3 in the morning, In my case, I wake up at 5 or 5:30 anyway, normally. But since I've been doing the detox, I wake up at the same time, but now I go work. I'll go walk 1, 2, or 3 miles. And that's the difference.
Right.
Before I wake up, turn the TV on and say, well, bored to death, right? It's giving me that kind of energy. I also, after you play for so many years, I played the guitar played for 70 years almost. You don't pick it up much. Now I pick it up every day. And I attribute that to the supplements because there's nothing else that I'm doing that's different in my life except that. Yeah, so I appreciate what I'm taking, and I appreciate Doug Whitfield a whole lot also.
Doug, when you hear these type of reactions to this product, this is not unusual for you because if you go to the website at zenusglobalhealth.com, you'll find all kinds of interesting testimonials. The kinds of testimonials that if you were to claim them, you'd probably get into trouble. Okay, but these folks have seen some of the most insidious challenges that you can imagine from a chronic disease perspective. What do you take from this record of just remarkable success with people at a grassroots level?
Well, again, it's not novel. It's not novel. And the thing that we've experienced, of course, is even dealing with pets and with animals and livestock and that. And, of course, there is no placebo effect when you're dealing with animals.
Very true.
They either react or they respond. We've got veterinarians right in this town that use our products as a result of them viewing firsthand the benefits that animals have received from using our products.
No doubt there. Sidro, when you have a conversation with people about, we're guys, right? And guys, we tend to think we're indestructible, right?
Right.
We don't like going to the doctor. We don't like anybody telling us what we got to do. Oh yeah, I'll get around to eating better. I'll eat more veggies, and I won't have the burger through the drive-thru.
Right.
And I won't
do it anyway.
No KFC for a week, right? I'll get better. Wait, what is that conversation like when you talk to guys about it?
Well, first they ask me, how do I maintain this energy? How do I keep on playing music? Well, first of all, it's been my passion since I was 7 years old, but I was unsure of whether I wanted to keep on playing like I was. First of all, my getting up early in the mornings led me to a lot of things. First, after I started taking the supplements, I started working out a lot, okay? That changed everything. Because when you feel good, you feel like you can do some of those things that you did before. Not as well, but you want to try them again. And, you get stale after you get to a certain age. We let ourselves go a little bit. Not only eating, our habits go out the window,
Right.
This makes you think. All of a sudden, I said, I feel good. I just walked 3 miles, and I can go another 3. The answer was there.
We almost as guys have to demonstrate it, and then people have to make us curious, and at that point, that conversation that begins, no doubt about it. Folks, you are listening to the Zenus Health Show here on News Talk 840 AM KXNT. When we come back, 2 more special guests, Pierre Dube and Vickie Justice, will join us here in the studio. We talk more about health and wellness. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What if I could show you a way to increase your energy and your vitality, lower your blood pressure, and enhance your libido? No doctors, no drugs. Every day, I'm confronted by people that are just too anxious to tell me that they've got no energy, that they've got no drive. How be if we could change all that?
That's right. Make that call and make it now. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668. Unleash the power today.
This is News Talk 840 AM. KXNT.
Hey, folks, welcome back. This is the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840 AM KXNT. I'm here with Doug Whitfield, educator and author of Life or Grave Danger. Again, he is the president and CEO of Zenus Global Health. This is where the consultation is free, and we are backed by Nature's Pharmacy. Mr. Whitfield, before I bring on our next guest, I got a question for you, just gnawing at me, because I know people will be asking us, all right, what does this Nature's Pharmacy thing mean? You keep jamming this down my throat. What does it mean in the greater picture?
Well, when we talk about Nature's Pharmacy, it means that nature has a way of synergistically blending all the nutrients together in a molecular form. For example, a lot of people go out and they'll buy vitamins, but they're all synthetic, or they've been denatured, because vitamins, the function of a vitamin in nature is to speed up the activity of enzymes, which is the electrical chemical life force of our body. So in nature, they're always found as part of a team. You get your enzyme, coenzyme, mineral, trace mineral, and the vitamin. Enzymes typically are slow workers, so they need vitamins to speed up their activity. But when you buy a vitamin in a pill, it means that it's been isolated from its team members, and it's no longer recognized as natural. Matter of fact, people buying vitamin C aren't even getting vitamin C. They're getting ascorbic acid. It's kind of like eating the shell of an egg and leaving the yolk, because there's none of the protoplasm, none of the end part in that molecule that come with ascorbic acid. So it's really misleading. You're not getting vitamin C at all. You're getting simply part of the outer membrane of a molecule of vitamin C.
So if it's been denatured, it's essentially a drug.
It's essentially a drug, and it will never be accepted at a cellular level. The cells are far too smart. It's like a lock and a key, and if it's not proper key to fit that lock, in other words, if that's not in total harmony, it's targeted for rejection. Now you put additional stress on the body, because now it's got to figure out a way of eliminating it.
Yeah, since I've taken seafood, which is one of your products, which
Correct.
is what? It's what the richest source of vitamin C?
Complete vitamin C, yeah, because it comes from two different herbs. One, they're actually berries. One is called camu camu, and the other one's acerella. Those are the two richest known sources of complete vitamin C on the planet. So we have a proprietary extraction process, so when we extract, we can maintain the integrity of each constituent. So we don't compromise anything in the extraction process. So everything, it comes directly right from nature. So we say nature's pharmacy.
Okay, so let's go back to that word natural again.
Yeah.
We see it thrown around everywhere now.
Correct.
So you got Whole Foods here, 100% natural, organic. What is actually natural and what is fake natural or faux natural, as I call it in the marketplace?
One can make the argument that anything that exists on the planet originally came from a natural source. And so people will use the term natural, when in fact, when we talk about natural, we're talking about directly from nature, where nothing's been compromised. All the components are in harmony the way nature put them there.
Two wonderful people who are also in harmony join us now here on the Zenus Health Show. Always a pleasure to see their happy faces. Sunday morning, rising wide and bright. First off is Pierre Dube. You may know Pierre if you've seen him at with Cirque du Soleil. Was it Mystère you played with?
That was Mystère, yeah.
Yes. We'll get to that a bit because you had a very interesting role there. And, of course, Vickie Justice, who is with us. She is also a wellness consultant, also done a lot with biofeedback. We'll get to that as well. Vickie, Pierre, great to have you here on the show. How are you?
Good morning, Anthony. Great. Happy to be here. Yes.
We have a happy threesome. Now we got Sidro. Between you two and Doug, who hasn't really talked too much about it, we have quite a musical trio here all of a sudden. We could seriously rip if we wanted to. Pierre, I want to pick up real quickly. You know, when we talk about wellness, we could talk about nutritional supplements. We could talk about biofeedback. We could talk about all kinds of modalities, but you also get heavily involved with music, and your background is rather astounding. Some of the things you've done. Talk to us a little bit about where you come from and where music fits in the grand spectrum of wellness.
Well, I was, first of all, in a very famous percussion ensemble called Repercussion. And with Repercussion, we toured the world, from Hong Kong, Taiwan, Korea, China, Switzerland, France. We've been playing classical music there. And for a drummer and a percussionist, it's like, what? You play classical music?
Yeah.
And with those mallets instruments that we specialize into, the marimbas, the xylophone, the vibraphone, we were missing a bass instrument. So one of the members of the group invented something called the metallophone bass. And now with the metallophone bass, we could have put the band together. And with having a full orchestration, we were able to reorganize all these classical music like the Four Seasons of Vivaldi's. And we did excerpts of that with 4 percussionists playing with 4 mallets. So we used to tell people that these 4 seasons of Vivaldi were specially created for us. And as the instruments were not invented yet, well, they had to settle with the strings. So that's what happened. But music took me all around the world. And I was born in a very bad health. I had lung problems. Everybody in my family was asthmatic or allergic to everything. And down the road, I remember every summer I was almost dying of an asthma attack. And my dad had to drive me emergency styles to the hospitals, having the breathing and, apparatus, having to force the air inside of me, and with all kinds of injection of adrenaline and all that. And the reason I grew out of it is because when I turned 18, I realized that I needed to change my nutrition pattern. I was into chocolate, I was into like barbecue and all that, and it was all good, except that at one point I was like, do you want to live this life or just do you want to misery this life? And I went, okay, now let's change some habits. And slowly, coming out of a serious asthma attack one time, as I was in Canada, we didn't have this health insurance problem. I was like, across the street, I see the hospital there, and I went, I gotta go to the hospital. And I went to the hospital, and all the nurses, they took me, and they said, well, you're going to take care of the paperwork after. That's not a problem. Go get treated. And they treated me for a week. When I came out of there, I just passed this store just by my house where I used to live, and there was a yoga book in the window. So I decided to get that yoga book. It was on sale. It was like $3, $2.99, if I remember correctly at the time. So I said, that I can afford. So I changed my nutrition and I started to exercise. And then my body got better. And down the road, I see this commercial of Kung Fu Canada, and I signed up for that, and then I got much, much stronger.
So how does a guy who's got a major asthma problem end up in Cirque du Soleil?
That was
being suspended in like flight, pounding on these giant Japanese drums. I mean, how do you get from there to there? That's remarkable to me.
You should have seen the face of my mom at one point. She's passed now, but she came to see the show Mystère at one point. And the ushers all knew me, of course, and they said, Ma'am Dube, you have to be seated right there in the middle. And at the end of my act, I was like spinning through the air and landing with my 2 big sticks. And the first thing I saw was my mom with her mouth open with, what happened? Right. This kid was he was supposed to be dead. And I was still hanging in there. All those training sessions I had, because I was a musician, I was not an acrobat. But with the taiko playing, they put me as an instructor. So, and then at one point they said, well, you got to play the big drum. You're the drummer. Oh, by the way, take your shirt off. I went, what? In between those Russians and the Chinese and everybody with a 6-pack, and I had 1 pack. It was a little rounder than theirs. But, it forced me to go hit the gym and start changing my nutrition pattern to a more serious level. But I didn't know Doug at the time. So down the road, after Lanking, I did after the Mystère show. It's funny because I used to say everybody knows the back of my head, because when I played the big drum, I had my back turned to the people and I had long hair. So everybody remembers that moment. And then down the road, I played marimba for the Lion King show, which was an incredible gig. Mm. But then again, I started kind of loosening up on my physical training. And down the road, I met with Doug and his beautiful wife, Christina, and we met not very long ago. Mm-hmm. And I did try the products, and some of the products like spring cleaning.
They really are. Folks, we're going to talk more about the products. You are listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840 AM. Don't forget, if you want to join us, you can give us a call at 702-733-5968. Questions, comments, we'll get into supplements as well. Stay with us to the break. We've got more to get to with Vickie Justice and where she's at. Come right back.
Is Optimum Detox. It's unlike any detox formula you've ever used, and you'll feel the effects instantly. Our bodies are constantly picking up unhealthy toxins that slow us down, make us feel tired, and can cause disease. But just as we take in toxins on a daily basis, we need to help our bodies eliminate them daily too. Optimum Detox is the only whole food detox formula that gives your body exactly what it needs to become a supercharged toxin-fighting machine. It's so concentrated, just a few drops taken with water or your favorite drink starts eliminating toxins right away. The secret is in the powerful all-natural Mojave Yucca, proven to give your body what it's lacking to fight and eliminate toxins.
I take Optimum Detox every day, and I feel like I'm 20 again.
Detoxing every day is vital to health. I've never felt better.
Take the Optimum Detox Challenge and feel the difference instantly. You won't believe how great you'll feel, and we'll guarantee it.
Call now, not next week, not next month. 702-540-5668. Eliminate deadly toxins today.
KXNT.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840 AM KXNT Las Vegas. My name is Anthony, here with Doug Whitfield, Sidro Garcia, Pierre Dube, and of course our third guest today. Her name is Vickie Justice. I want to bring Vickie in very, very quickly because she's a person who is a wellness consultant, someone who knows the lay of the land, who understands, I think, that health is more than just a state of physical and mental and social well-being. We need to do something more, and that starts at a very, very different level than I think even the medical profession would acknowledge at times. Vickie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Anthony. Glad to be here.
Talk to people a little bit here about what is a wellness consultant. What does that role entail?
I've been a massage therapist here in Las Vegas since 94, biofeedback therapy since 2004. I've worked for doctors, chiropractors, the whole wellness regime, you might say, the whole spectrum. My background, back in Virginia, I was born. My grandpa was an herbalist and a constable. And so with the name Justice, I kind of come by some of these things naturally, but definitely coming from a holistic, natural perspective. We always looked for the natural way to go. As children, my mom treated us with natural things rather than, resorting to a pill was the very last thing. Mm-hmm. We would be running when she came after us with the enema bag, of course. But that was right. If you had the sniffles, you better run.
I remember that. TMI, Vickie, TMI.
Sorry about that. But, they had the concept of natural cleansing. But in my adult life, I came from that background of massage and wellness. Also, I'm a singer. I play guitar. Pierre and I have a duo that we perform together called Vickie Justice. And it's no mistake or coincidence that I've also been in the cannabis industry in the last couple of years. Now that we have legalization. And I come back full circle to wellness with plants and the synergy of all the whole plants working together. And I had worked the health shows here in Las Vegas for years and years and had met Doug and his lovely wife, Christina. And I have to say what really, besides being such warm, beautiful people, they have glowing skin and sparkly eyes. Mm-hmm. And as someone who is in the natural health realm, to me, that's what says what you are, is what it shows up in your being and what radiates from you. And so I'd gotten to know Doug and Christina, just kind of off in the distance, and then came closer and closer. And I really like you. Wow, you really sparkle and shine. I want to know more about who you are and what you do. And so I was drawn to their aura and their radiance, you might say.
You go past getting to know them, and then you get to know the products. And I consider you to be a qualified person because you've been in this space for a very long time. These products are really unique. When you start talking to people about, okay, so you start with the detox, which you got to do, so the other stuff is even more effective.
Yes.
How do you broach that conversation with someone who may be just jumping on the wellness path, don't have a journey or even a destination, but they're at that starting point where they know they need to do something? How do you describe the products?
Well, I talked to them about the whole plants working together in harmony and how the intelligence of the body, going back to that, how you guys started this show, the teamwork that goes into the whole plant to address the body. And it's because it is a whole plant, it works gently with the body. So when I talk to people, I address how they need to be gentle with the body, because when you go too fast with a lot of these products, you kick up that Herxheimer reaction or the detox response, and you don't feel so good. Mm-hmm. But I noticed with these Zenus products, the Optimum Detox, it's such a gentle process. It just makes your body feel really supported. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy because they're so gentle to back off a little bit or just up your water intake. Or as a massage therapist, we're taught detoxifying practices, get into your bath with the Epsom salts. And, there are always ways that you can naturally address the body's detoxing mechanism. So, and that's what I really love about these products is they're so gentle to the system that it makes the transition. Because when you come from a toxic place of imbalance and you start addressing it, you really need to be mindful and gentle with yourself. And I just can't stress the importance of that enough. Because on this journey, if you can take it gently and do it little bit by bit, instead of trying to conquer, Rome wasn't built in a day.
For sure.
So you need to just take it step by step. That's how I talk to people.
Sidro, real quickly, what's coming up for you at the Gold Strike?
We're going to be at the Gold Strike Casino on the 24th, 25th, December 8th and 9th, and 22nd and 23rd. Come see us.
Many thanks to you for listening in at home. You can also stay in touch by following us at facebook.com/ZenusHQ. Check us out on Twitter at Zenus Global for all the updates and more. Remember, the greatest gift you can give your friends, your loved ones, is the lessons we share about the healing powers found in our bodies. So send your friends, family, and colleagues a link to one of our shows and let their journeys begin. The consultation's free, direct from Nature's Pharmacy. We'll be back again next week, and please, in the meantime, stay well. Please be advised that statements made during this show have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The information provided herein is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose nor treat any illness, nor does it suggest or imply a cure for any disease or chronic condition. In fact, you should always consult a physician and or healthcare professional before starting this or any nutritional program to determine if it is right for your needs.